Imagine sitting on your porch, enjoying the view of the vast mountainous area, or taking a trip to some of the most beautiful lakes, or traveling to hike the trails around a volcano. Who couldn't resist? Where is this amazing location? Guatemala, of course. Many people travel to Guatemala to experience these amazing views, but that's not the reason I'm planning to go to Guatemala. I would like to start by giving you some general information about this country. Guatemala is located in Central America, and its neighboring countries are Mexico, El Salvador, Belize, and Honduras. It is about 42,000 miles squares in area and with a population of 16 million. That is about the size of Tennessee, with 10 million more people than Tennessee's population. As in most places, the culture of Guatemala is varied. They are about 70% Catholic, though many follow cultural traditions including belief in Mayan gods. Their primary foods are corn and tamales. One of the most celebrated holidays in Guatemala is Christmas, and their primary language is Spanish, but many also speak ancestral Mayan languages. Guatemala is a beautiful mountainous country where people often go to vacation. However, sadly, many of the people who live there are very poor and don't have clean drinking water. About 93% of the native population in Guatemala are living in poverty. Guatemala's income distribution is among the most unequal in the world, with the wealthiest 10% of the population owning nearly 50% of the national wealth. Though it's a beautiful tourist attraction, many people in Guatemala deal with poverty on a daily basis. There is an organization called Hope for Tomorrow that is working to help the people in Guatemala who are hungry and suffering. Hope for Tomorrow is a Christian missionary organization that's based out of Lake Orion, Michigan. They have drilled wells, planted churches, built orphanages, organized medical clinics, and provided food and water filtration systems for the people who need it most. Hope for Tomorrow is working with a local church on building a feeding program for the poorest people who live high up in the mountains. Our church is helping to continue a feeding program for the families living up in the mountains, especially during the drought season. 2 years ago, my dad and brother, along with other members of my church, went to Guatemala on a missions trip. They spent a lot of time fundraising and getting prepared for this trip. While in Guatemala, the mission team worked on construction projects on the medical building, land clearing on the farm for a tilapia pond, and a feeding program. For 5 days, the missions team prepared food, transported it on a bumpy 2 hours drive up the mountain, and fed the children and families. They served over 2,000 meals during the week. In addition to feeding, they also visited with the kids, taught a Bible message, played soccer, did crafts, and just spent time with them. Even though all the members of the team didn't speak Spanish or the local language, they were able to communicate through activities that they participated in. In the summer of 2017, my mom and I are going to Guatemala on a short-term missions trip with our church. We are hoping that you will pray for us, pray for the team, and pray for the people we will be serving in Guatemala. We are also looking for financial support to help us cover the cost of the trip and the supplies needed to feed the